and to bring you your fix of everything related to the Montreal Canadiens. Two men who could seriously use an intervention. Your source of Habs talk, right from the rock. Right from the rock.
Hello, Canada, hockey fans, United States and Newfoundland.
Hockey Junkie and GK.
Okay, guys, welcome to Season 2, Episode number 10 of the Fix Podcast. My name is Matt, also known as Hockey Junkie, and joining me today is Gary, the witch I've been calling him.
It's not even the worst thing you call me this week.
No.
Another six-pack in my pocket, my junkie buddy. What are we going to do?
I can't believe it. So, last week, if you guys missed it, I bet that Mike Opposita was going to score a point. Wasn't it a point?
A single point.
Yeah, over
Might have been a goal.
Over the next few
Doesn't
games.
matter.
But since that bit went down, nobody's even heard of Pizzetta. Like, nobody knows where he is. Robert Stack's talking about it on Solved Mysteries. Ripley's Believe It or Not. I can't believe it. So what'd you do? You got to tell us.
He found a single lock of his hair in his locker room. That was all was left.
That's
I
terrible.
was like, man, I didn't expect them to sit out. Especially there's a couple of those games where you have to expect them to be in the lineup. Like, last time they played Buffalo, things got a little bit chippy. I wouldn't have been surprised to see him in the lineup against Buffalo. And then,
Arizona.
Last night would have been too late for you, but Florida was the same thing. Florida kind of plays that game a little bit of an edge. And Chuck there wouldn't have been surprised to see him in there. But I don't know. And you know what? I hadn't thought about this till we just started, but like, all right, the trade deadline is coming up.
Yeah.
You got a guy like Jesse Ullin, you know. I don't think they're going to be shopping Joshua Waugh or something like that, but you know, you got Colin White there now. Maybe these guys are guys that they want to showcase a little bit more. Like Piz is not going anywhere.
Oh, I hope not.
No, I definitely not. You'll be heartbroken.
Like, yeah.
Someone's going to. I love Piz.
Someone's going to hear it.
Especially when he wins me beer by not playing at all. So, I mean, he did me a solid. But, so maybe that's more of an issue. Cause, I mean, he was playing well, and there's really like, that's 4 or 5 games now. 5 games.
I don't like it.
I know you
don't. I actually don't like it.
I know you don't like it.
Yeah, man.
Well, you know what? I don't really like it either because last night, Matthew Tkachuk getting on with some of his shenanigans there. The fourth line goes out. You got Ulinen's out there. Colin White is out there. You know, like these guys aren't. Arber Xhekaj is chewing his arm off on the bench because he's not on the ice. But I'm just thinking, like, and every now and then you'll see the fourth line go out, and there's a hit there to be made. Like,
zero energy.
Especially last night. There was hits there to be made. It was a high-tempo game, I felt like. And I don't mean you got to rip the hit off someone every shift or every play, but Pizzetta does. Yeah. He'll hit you clean every play, but you're getting hit. And I felt last night like Ullinen would go in, there'd be a hit there to be made, he'd turn away, and the intensity of the game was there. Like, it's a game where you'll finish your hits in this game. And there was a shift there I was saying, like, this is the fourth line right now. And they weren't doing it. And Pizzetta would have been, like I said, chewing on the bumper, the board, trying to get out on the ice to hit somebody. Oh, yeah. So I think he could have been an asset last night. And I think I can be an asset most games.
Yeah, man. And it's not like the Habs were always seeing, you know, a winning lineup. A lineup that's always been winning or something without Pizzetta. Like, they've been losing.
They've been losing and still keep them out of the lineup, which is surprising, really. But I'm wondering if, like, and I don't know, obviously, but this time of year, you can't take anybody's motives at face value. It's thinking about. So, like, you know, if a guy's in the lineup, maybe there's a reason he's in the lineup. If a guy's out of the lineup, maybe there's a reason he's out of the lineup. And because, like I said, to me, Pizzetta's going nowhere. No. And I hope he doesn't, because I think he does bring that. You know, I don't mind sitting Pizzetta out for 1 or 2 games, and he can play that game, and he can be that guy. Yeah. But when you need that energy, he's there, and he brings it consistently. So I think, like, you know, maybe it's a Colin White, maybe it's a Jesse Ullin, maybe it's somebody else that they're just wanting to kind of get out there for the big trade that we don't see coming.
Could be. And you know, you're right though. Sometimes you do got to sit him out, not feed him for a couple days, treat him like shit, get him all riled up, and then just toss him back into the lineup, and he's hungry.
Oh yeah, he is hungry. He is hungry. So I don't know. Like, to me, it's when I took the bet, I didn't think he was going to. I think he would score a goal. I think the bet would score a goal. It doesn't matter now.
Marty St. Louis.
But I didn't think he was. I figured he was going to play at least over one of those games. So I mean, don't get me wrong. That's 20. That's 30 beer over the last 2 weeks I've won for me. So hey, you know.
Oh man, I'm gonna be. I got to work overtime this week because of you.
I'll spot you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to spot me a couple of beers. Yeah, but I'll say this though: the Habs game against Florida. Now, I don't know what it is, man, but they've been getting this rivalry going on. Like, I look more forward to the games against Florida lately than even Boston and Toronto. Like, isn't that weird? Like, it feels like Florida is slowly becoming one of those teams. And as much as we hate Tkachuk, Nick Cousins is such a piece of shit, man.
Absolutely.
You can smell it off him. He's very close to a walking piece of shit. But like, I don't know. Like, I still like these guys because they just ramp up the intensity. Like,
makes for a better hockey game.
Yeah, man. Like, how boring would hockey be without Tkachuk and Marchand and all these guys?
You need a bad guy. You need a good villain, right?
You need a villain.
And buddy, he makes for a good villain too. Tkachuk last night.
Does he?
Like, at one point, I was yelling at the TV. And I was like, I don't do that all the time, but it was a lot of explicit words, and it was bad because at one point there. You see him, I think it was Savard. Well, Savard crash-checked him behind the net. Crash-checked him. You're getting air quotes here, people, if you can't see it. But, give me a break. It was a little push. And he went down like he was shot. Yeah. And then a couple plays later, they were in there again. And he lost the puck. And then all of a sudden, his legs are fucking over his head almost. He's like he's going in for a prostate exam. Oh, man. It was ridiculous. And, the ref wouldn't buy him after the first couple. But he did buy a few. And it's just like... And the same thing, Caulfield took that penalty in the third period. Little tap his buddy was going by, and then all of a sudden he's spinning out and falling down. It's like, how do you make that call? It's like, are your eyes closed or what? You know something though? That was one of the best dives I've ever seen by Montour. Like he didn't just dive, like he went under the water, came up, dived again, and then went up and dived once more. It was impressive. It was. He had a finish onto his dive. He did. Yeah, it was multifaceted. There was layers to it. That was as 10 out of 10 as you could get. And he still got the call, right? And in Montreal, actually did get a few calls this game, but they went 2 games without even drawing a single penalty. That was weird. And don't get me wrong, they didn't play like a great big puck position game to have the puck all the time to draw a bunch of penalties. But in the Arizona game, I thought there was a few for sure that were just completely ignored. Ignored. That they were just like, nah, we're not going to call that on you guys for each. And then last night they finally got a couple, but they were pretty blatant penalties last night. They had to go a long way. They were going around like 3 blind mice with their stick to be like, I don't see. Like Petrie after a bad hit on your goalie. You're so blind. Yeah, man. Before we got a bunch of questions that we want to get into today. I made a community post. We're going to get into some of those, but Gary, Arber Xhekaj, man, over the last few games, he's been getting a lot of minutes now. Like, I don't know if people realize, but like beforehand, he was kind of playing sheltered minutes, picking up 8-10 minutes a game, like not many. No. And now all of a sudden, one game he had over 20. I think last night he had over 18 against Florida, and he's playing with David Savard now. And I just see a massive difference in his game. The slap shot competition from the Habs, man, 107 miles per hour. That's crazy. 107 miles an hour, man. Holy shit. And he just casually walks into it, too. It's like, no big deal, man. Yeah, man. And he shot 102 in a game prior to that. And that assist last night on Suzuki's goal. Beautiful, man. That was beautiful. You're looking. There's a 2-zone pass right on the tape to Suzuki. Perfectly. Yeah. Because as soon as it happened, I was like, geez, who passed that? And I was thinking, maybe it was Matheson, maybe it was Gooley. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah. Arber Xhekaj, what a it was beautiful pass, man. Beautiful Trading Arber Xhekaj is insane to me. Well, like I said, if you look at they put up the game charts afterwards, it's like the line in the middle, and it's like these are the positive players, these are the negative players on a graph. Yeah. Xhekaj was at the top of the for all that ice time. Yeah. Top, good defensive, good offensive numbers, picking up points. Yeah. And like if he just did that, like if his game was just that, like just a normal hockey game, I would say. He played good offense, solid defense, can skate, can shoot the puck. But then he's also Arber fucking Xhekaj. Yeah. He's terrifying. He's big. He brings a completely different element in addition to that. You know what I mean? So it's like, he's not going anywhere. I think by the time this blue line gets straightened away, he's going to settle into a second pairing, third pairing role. Perfect. If he's on your third pairing playing the way he's playing right now, you got a good defense. Then you got a good defensive. Oh, yeah. And the only reason I say that now in this conversation is because looking at who we got coming, that's still probably where he might fall. Like that's the potential on the blue line there. Yeah. If Matheson were to move on and if he ends up being the cannon on the blue line, who knows? But then you got a little man named Lane Hudson coming through too. I hear is pretty good on the power play. I'm not sure.
Precious.
I'm not sure. Yeah, my precious. So, and we asked some questions. We got a question about him actually. We'll get into it now when we get into it. But yeah, I mean, Arber Xhekaj, man, is the difference between some people didn't like being sent down to Laval, and I don't know that I like the reasoning for him being sent down to Laval. But you'd be hard pressed to say that he's not a better player now than he was when he went down there.
Yeah, even picking the spots like last night, that penalty we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely.
Well, me and you were talking about. We weren't all in, but on Rodriguez goes in, trips Montembeault. Montembeault's stick goes flying because it always goes flying. But like the ref literally saved.
Oh, he
saved
fell
it.
over him like a safety blanket.
Yeah, man. He did. He had his hands up and he was like, "Xhekaj, please, man, just don't kill this guy, man. Your team's getting a power play.
Don't kill me to get there." Yeah. And they interviewed Xhekaj afterwards, and he said, like, obviously, I can't quote it exactly. I think it was this morning I read it. He's like, obviously, if someone hits your goalie, you're going after him. And he said, I went in, the ref was there, and he said I kind of bit my tongue, as if to say, like, I knew we were getting a call, and I wasn't going to sacrifice that. That's a different element.
Yeah.
And that's hard to know when to do it and not to do it, because you always want to stand up for your teammate. I think that's the point he was making. Like, he wanted to stand up for Montembeault.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to hurt his team to do it. And he said, I think at the end, he said, I'll just get my spot back later on him. So, I mean, if you're Rodriguez and you come back to Florida and you hear that sound clip, you're like, maybe I'll sit up this game, coach.
Look out.
Maybe I don't need to play this one. Brendan Gallagher and Arber Xhekaj both wanted to decapitate me in this game, so maybe I'll just stay on the bench.
Gally was pissed last night.
You see him, like, even on the bench, man, like, he looked like he was going to murder somebody. And they were up a goal at that point. Like, he was. I've never seen anyone that mad on a bench. In position of winning in the game.
Oh yeah, he was furious for sure. Insane. That game was pretty fun though.
It was definitely one of the better games. The Arizona game was fun to watch too. It was sloppy, but it was fun to watch. At least it was close.
One of the questions that we got here was actually from that game, and it's from Rippin' Addiction, and he wants to know our thoughts on Slavkovsky's goal with 0.7 seconds left. He says, "What a stud!
What a stud!"
He is.
That says it all, really. But I mean, for a new guy on the ice at that point in the game, which he has been consistently now, speaks to where the coach sees him.
Yeah.
And it's really obvious. The shot got on net. It got on net quickly. Something he's been working on consistently over the last little while. He had a good game. A good game all around.
He did.
He could have had another one or two goals. For that one, he's in the right place and the right time, got in the net. And I love to see it. He had gotten a couple of games without a goal. Yeah. So, like, that was a big one. Plus, it tied him up there at the end of the second period. Like, as far as momentum shifts go, you can see even the announcers on Sportsnet were like, we're going to have a narrative going into this third period. Yeah. And that 7-second goal completely changes the narrative. They're right back in it. Just a tie game going into third, and away we go. Slavkovsky's goal was great. Slavkovsky in general is still playing excellent hockey.
He is, man.
You can see sometimes that line gets paired, like, say, against Pittsburgh the other night. Like, you look at that game and you might look at it and say that was an off game for Slavkovsky, Caulfield, and Suzuki. But they're just so good defensively. They don't give you anything. Yeah. And eventually you're going to run into that. Like, especially when you're a one-line team like Montreal, you're going to run into a good defensive matchup and they're going to shut you down. But that happens not very often with Slavkovsky. He finds ways to get around it. What I'd like to see, and we talked about this before, is him just use his body a bit more. Like, just times when he got a lane to the net, and he's kind of taking a little bit water, waiting for the pass to open and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, man, you're 240 pounds of just steel. Just take it to the net. Yeah. It'll open up if you do that. Yeah. The pass will open up more if you take that big body of yours to the net, because they're going to have to come at you eventually. So that's the only thing about the Slavkovsky game right now that I'd like to see him do a little bit more of, is take the puck to the net hard and maybe shoot a little bit more. But because when he does, he scores, like on that beauty goal with 7 seconds left to change the game. Yeah,
and there was a couple of times last night too where it was during the power play and he made like one extra pass, and I was just waiting for him to rip that shot, but he tried to make a couple of nice passes over to Suzuki, who's been crushing it lately too. He's a point per game now.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy, man. Playing good. And like last night, he seemed like every time there was an opportunity with Suzuki, he was just there.
He was, yeah.
And he's got a knack for finding lanes and for finding open spaces. He's been like that since he was playing junior. He just finds space around him. It's unreal. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. And I find that with Slavkovsky, he's forcing that pass a little bit sometimes. But it's hard. I mean, when you're a young guy on the line, you got Caulfield and Suzuki on either
Yeah.
side. Like, I mean, Caulfield's a trigger man, and he hardly ever gets a shot on the power play because they cut him. Like they take that away a lot, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to take what you're given. If they're giving you the shot, you got to take it. So props to Slafkovsky, especially on that goal. Excellent timing. Beauty.
Awesome. 0.7 seconds.
Beast mode. He was in beast mode last night.
He was, yeah. Okay, so we got another question. This one's from Guitar Geek 4208. He's asking about Kirby Dach and his potential line mates for next season. Who do you see as Kirby Dach's potential line mates for next season? I'll start this.
You start. You go.
Well, like now that Slafkovsky's like having already finding such good chemistry with Suzuki and Caulfield, like it's hard to just. To me, like that's your first line now.
To start the season.
As of right now, yeah. Kirby Dach, if it was up to me, God, there's not much to choose from. What? It's like picking flies off a turd, man. What? I don't know. I'd give him maybe Alex Newhook on a wing, and maybe another big body. A lot of it depends on the draft. I mean, if they do get a guy like Lindstrom and he's ready to go next season, well, geez, who better to toss in there right away?
That would work good.
But other than that, maybe Josh Anderson. I don't know who else we got.
You feeling well?
Oh no, yeah, I'm not on there, but I mean, who else do we got?
I don't know.
Mario Armia is going to be what, 19 years old at that point, so
finally breaking into the lead. I know, man. I would have to say right now, given the way the lineup's constructed, everyone's back healthy. Joshua Waugh, I think maybe.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
There's a guy. Here's a name.
You know, he's playing good with Newhook right now. He's moving the puck well. To me, like Joshua Waugh's game reminds me a lot of Nick Suzuki's game. You know, he's not going to blaze you with speed. He's not, going to blow you away with any one maybe aspect of his game other than his brain. And I find like Waugh plays the game a lot like that. He creates space for himself. He uses his body to create space and just little bumps and kind of rolls. And the next thing he's got the puck with some space. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Waugh in that role. I think he'd do well there, like with a big body center, create some space for him, and he'd just go and get the puck and stuff like that. And then Newhook using his speed, the same thing. So as the lineup is right now, like I don't know who else. I mean, Ullinen got an addition when everyone was hurt last year. He hasn't really showed to have much of a scoring touch there. Michael Pozzetta's sitting out right now, so he's probably out.
Yeah.
Armia, we laugh at it.
Let's not go there.
But like Josh Anderson, unless, I mean, ideally you look at it and that's who the guy would be.
Yeah.
But right now, like, he's not that guy. So unless something happens in training camp or something like that, the only other guy maybe Trevor Zegras might look good on that wing.
There you go.
But I really do think like that they're going to draft somebody where to be a defenseman, hopefully a big forward, one of the big forwards we talked about. But I think they're going to make a move for a top 6 player this offseason. So I think it's going to be Dach, it's going to be Newhook, and it's going to be somebody obviously.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's someone who's not there right now. That would be my prediction for opening night. There would be someone in our top 6 opening night next year who isn't there, who isn't on our lineup, who isn't in our system, who isn't anywhere right now. That's my prediction for next year. So I think that'd be the hardest part to predict who's going to be with Dach. I don't think we got him yet.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Next question. This one's kind of funny. This one came from John Raymond, and he wants to know, who do we hate more, Matthew Tkachuk or Brad Marchand?
Oof.
I'll let you go with this one lead off.
Oh, that's tough.
That is tough. That's a good question.
You had asked me mid-game last night, it would have been Matthew Tkachuk.
I hate this guy.
Hands down would have been Matthew Tkachuk. But I don't know that the history is there enough. I mean, Brad Marchand's I've been hating Brad Marchand for decades. I've only hated Matthew Tkachuk for a couple hours. So I even liked him last year in the playoffs when he was driving the Leafs bonkers a little bit. So I definitely, Brad Marchand still takes the cake for me. But Matthew Tkachuk, if we keep playing Florida, he won't be long overtaking him. And Marchand's kind of he's kind of lame these days too.
Yeah, he's kind of mellow.
Yeah, he's mellowed a lot now. He got the C on his chest. So I think historically to now, Brad Marchand had him by a mile. But give it another year or so and maybe a playoff series against Florida in the next 2 or 3 years.
Man,
you imagine playing that guy in the playoffs?
Oh, that'd be crazy.
He wouldn't be long. He'd be the most hated man in La Belle Provence.
Yeah, no, for sure. For me, I'm going to go with, I agree that like Brad Marchand back in the day, obviously, is no brainer. Nobody even compares. No. But I'm going to go with Matthew Tkachuk just because of how annoying he was last night, and I'm still not over that yet.
I really want someone to, like, physically hurt him. That's horrible, isn't it? But,
It
like,
is.
He's
It is
acting like a
horrible.
huge dick, and I would be like, someone come in and level him. This is what was going on in my head. Like, for someone to level him.
I know.
And then in the post-game interview, be like, I'm probably going to be suspended, and it was worth it.
Yeah, man.
Because if the refs had done their job and called the game right, I wouldn't have had to go in there and take his head off because he was being an idiot.
Yeah. I know. It's
really?
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like, that's what was going on in my head. What a storyline that would be. And then the person had to go, and I'll take my suspension for the hit, and now I'll take my suspension for complaining about the referees.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, you got.
But, I don't know. All right. Moving on. What's the next question? I like these questions.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I gotta say, everybody's doing a good job. This one's from Off Grid Gaming. This one's kind of funny, too. He wants to know our thoughts on how Mountain Ball is costing this team from drafting an elite forward once again. And this is such a touchy subject, man, because on one hand, I mean, if Mountain Ball was playing like shit and he was allowing a bunch of goals, everybody would be freaking out saying, well, we don't have a number one goaltender. And even though we still don't 100% know, he's been playing really good this season. He's been making progress. I think every season he's been making progress. But that's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. He is kind of hurting their chance. Like, the guy's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
You know what I mean?
Wrong. But, like, to me, it's like, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Samuel Montembeault, for right now at least, in the foreseeable future, is going to be our starting goaltender for the next 5 years. And that's going to include some of the competitive window.
Yeah.
Unless someone comes in or they trade for someone or Fowler comes in. So if he's our goalie of the future, one, he's got to play. He's got to get reps. And you need him to play well while he does those reps. You know what I mean? Whether or not it gives us an extra point here or there, moves us up or down 1 or 2 points. I mean, the team is awful. Save percentage or win percentage is the same as it was last year.
Yeah.
Teams are bad. The only teams we're beating are bad hockey teams.
Yeah.
Every game we played this week to a good hockey team, we lost.
Yeah.
Every game we played against a bad hockey team, we won.
Yeah.
We beat Arizona, we beat Anaheim in our last 8.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 teams that we should beat, and we lost everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, Monty's got to get some reps. We gave away more than enough goalie points this season. Jake Allen every start is a gift. Primo's playing somewhere in the middle. You're going to win some games, and you need to win some games. It's better for your defense. And we talked about this last year when Monty was stealing a couple games, or even Allen was stealing a couple games. Like, your your defense do need a little bit of wiggle room to make some mistakes. Because if every mistake ends up in the back end, the confidence is going to roll real, real quick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, last night, yes, Monty had a good game, but Slafkovsky scored a goal, Suzuki scored a goal, and Newhook scored a goal.
Yeah.
So, 3 of your offensive guys you want to be offensive producers over the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years produced, and you won a game 3-2. So, I mean, if he was stealing shutouts and whatever else, he's also giving us a chance to lose if we don't step up and play. So, you got to win some games. And Montembeault is part of the future, so if he plays and steals a couple points, that's all you can do. Team is still bad and still losing the games they should lose, really.
Just do what I do. If you're looking for someone to blame Yoel Armia. I've been literally blaming him for everything that's happening in my life over the last few years. He's the reason for everything.
That explains a lot.
It does, yeah. Next question, another good one. This one's from Chamby Sheep. I want to hear something about popcorn and what would be best for his development. What do you say, Gary? 2 minutes, microwave?
Yeah, at least.
Extra butter?
In North America.
Yeah, over here, yeah. None of the microwaves over that way.
You got a lot of salt to it, your popcorn.
You do, yeah.
David Reinbacher, for anyone who doesn't get the popcorn reference, is playing in the NL over in Switzerland. Been playing over all season on a team called, it's not Culloden, it's something Cloten.
Yeah.
Who are historically bad. Started season, they played good last season as well, and he obviously had a good season last season. But this year they've had a couple coaches, and I think they got outscored by like 70 goals in their last 10 games. So it's bad over there now.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
So he's going into a relegation series by the look of it, where their season will end, and in order for his team not to get sent down to like the lower levels, he's got to play out that relegation series. And then once that whole process is over, he'll come to North America. and play in the AHL, I believe is the expectation. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen is the question mark. So, what is it? Sometime towards the end of March is looking now?
Something like that, yeah.
There's a lot of variables. They might have to play one play-out series. They might have to play two, I believe.
Yeah, if they got to play two, it's going to be in April.
Yeah. So, he'll be, by all accounts of everything that I read, and I think same thing as you, like, the general consensus is now as soon as that season is over, he's coming to North America. And my thoughts are that's the end of
He's not getting back.
He's not going back to Europe after this. So he'll come and we'll see what we got in him in the AHL. And he's still the best player on his team, but that's a low, by all accounts, that's a low bar.
Yeah.
So we'll see after that. But right now, that's as far as I think anyone really knows. He'll come over, he'll play, hopefully if he gets over in time, play for Laval if they make the playoffs, and we'll kind of go from there. This is a bit of I won't say it's a last year for David Reinbacher for development. I mean, he's played, but he's been hurt and the team's been bad. So
it's a weird year.
It's a weird year. It's not a good year to draw conclusions on him as a pick or as a person or as entree. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. All I know is he ain't going back.
No, he can't go back.
No, like not even for a visit.
Steal his passport when he gets over here.
You ever watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Remember that episode where Walter White's got that guy chained to a bar down in the basement? Yeah. That's going to be Jeff Gordon and David Reinbacher this summer.
You ain't going anywhere, kid.
It's going to give him a broken plate. Oh, man. All right, next question. Moving on. This one's coming. Now, I might be butchering these names too, by the way, so forgive me in advance. I butcher everybody's name. Andius Augustus, this one's from. He says he's looking forward to the podcast. Thank you very much. Perhaps a little chin wag about what we think Hudson will be able to accomplish if he's given a sniff this season. And I could see him getting a sniff this season, but the question is he going to get an NHL sniff or an AHL sniff? But a lot of times, before they sign the contract, that's a big part of the negotiation because they want a sniff of some NHL action.
Harris got a sniff when he came. I think... I'd bet, we won't use that for the beer bet of the week, but I bet a lot that I almost guarantee that he's going to sign his contract as soon as their season is over. Yeah. Depends on, I guess, playoffs for those guys and how deep they go and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he'll sign it immediately. I think he'll come to Montreal immediately. I think he'll probably sit a couple games in the press box and get a kind of feel for it. And I think he'll play 4 or 5 games in the season and we'll see what we got with him. What we'll have, I don't know. Thing is, like, most at the trade deadline, unless they move out a defenseman, the defense is still absolutely chinged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at that point in the season, it's going to be over with anyway. So if guys can give Matheson a game off, give this guy a game off, they'll give him an opportunity. I see he'll play at least 3 games to end the season. I think he'll probably get a little bit of look on the power play. And, I mean, I wouldn't have sky-high expectations from him. But... I'll tell you, I'll put a half case of beer on it right now if Junkie wants to. Won't count for the beer bet of the week. We'll put a year-end beer bet that he will score a goal before the end of the season for the Montreal Canadiens.
Done. Just because I like losing beer.
Absolutely. Done deal. So a little side beer bet of the week that Lane Hudson will score a goal for the Montreal Canadiens this season. I think he'll play a few games, and if he plays, he's going to score because he's Lane Hudson. That's what he does.
That'd be cool. But all I'm going to say is to everyone, if he does play like 4 or 5 games and he doesn't put up a point, like, God, double up your underwear or something. You know what I mean?
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, relax, man. He's just, it's going to be a massive adjustment no matter what.
Kid hasn't even been to an NHL training camp. That's the thing with these guys.
So, like, just tamper your expectations, but don't be shocked if he does do well. And hopefully he gets a sniff of power play, unit number 1 preferably, because unit number 2 is just god awful.
They are not good.
They don't even exist.
It's just they didn't exist. They should just roll up the second line.
Yeah, man.
But I see like Mike Matheson taking a step out of a game and Hudson playing in his position and playing his role on the power play on top there.
That'd be cool.
Mike Matheson, we'll get off track a little bit this time, but like he's like Jekyll and Hyde, is he not? Is it just me, or is Mike Matheson like a different hockey player from one shift to the next? Sometimes within the same shift. Like sometimes he looks like Bobby Orr. Like he's flying up the ice, his skating looks beautiful. And then sometimes it's like he's playing with two left hands. And it's just like he pass it away, or he'll make the stupidest defensive play you've ever seen and give it away right in front. Now, sometimes he'll make it a glorious diving play and get it back. But it's just like in the game against Pittsburgh, he gave away 2 goals on his own. Like, he's won the men back, he skated on by, scores, and he also scored a goal in that game and looked fantastic. But it was like, he's like...
He tries the freakiest shit. Like, he's the kind of guy that just goes home and like, makes some weird food, like throwing Aunt Jemima on his pizza and shit. Like, he's weird.
Like, he's like the 8-year-olds I got trying to do Michigan behind the net in under 9 hockey practice.
Yeah.
It's like, how about you just work on stick handling first, and we'll get to the Michigan, in 10 years or so.
Yeah, man.
But like, I don't know. And to me, we talked about, Savard is all talk, trade deadline talk, but sell high on Mike Matheson, to me, wouldn't be a bad idea.
No.
With everything we got coming down the pipeline, we talked about it before, but like, I think you'll get a haul for him, because I think people are kind of in love with him a bit right now. He's top 10 in scoring defenseman. He skates well.
Oh yeah.
But with what Montreal got there, I think that you could move on from Matheson, get a big return, and then look back at it later and say, geez, I think that was smart.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah. Sell high on Matheson all day long. You got lots of lift defensemen coming up. Lane Hudson's going to be ready next season, maybe.
Yeah. And then, if you do it, then turn around and say, we got David Savard for next year. He's the much more kind of old statesman of the group. He plays that.
He's grandpa.
Yeah, grandpa. you can put someone with him to settle him down. You're not putting anybody with like Matheson to settle him down.
No, because he's so electric.
Yeah, right. He needs an anchor himself. He's talking about like Gooley's game. You see Gooley kind of ratchet down his offense sometimes when he plays with Matheson, just because he don't know what Matheson's going to do.
No,
because Matheson doesn't know what he's going to do sometimes out there, right? He could be up in the fuck behind the net, trying to pop out and tip pucks, right? Forgetting he's the one supposed to be shooting the puck.
He's crazy, man.
He is. Yeah. I like him. Don't get me wrong. It's just I think if you pulled the trigger on a Matheson trade now, 5 years from now, you look back and be like, fuck, that was a good trade. Yeah. Like, that was the right time to move him.
Yeah.
So we'll see how she goes.
That's good stuff. Next question. This one's from Chris Croft, and he's wondering what type of move we might make during, before, or after the draft. So, what kind of move will we make? I feel like there's going to be a big trade heading up to the draft. I don't know why, but like it's been happening over the last couple of years. Seems like Kent Hughes just, his ears are burning from the phone up to it nonstop during that time of season.
I think you're going to see a bigger move. Like we saw the Doc move, and that was a big move. On the draft floor on draft day. And then the new Hook move was a bit earlier. We were all hyped up with these assets, and he kind of packaged up two picks and moved them out for a new Hook. And to me, like, good deals. New Hook scored last night. He's been looking good. He looks like he's going to definitely play in your second line or definitely in your middle six and give you some points, which when you talk about teams moving forward, teams that are actually like contending teams, that depth is huge, especially if it's signed up as young. But I think this year at the trade deadline, when it be on the draft floor that week before, and this might just be wishful thinking, but I think Kent Hughes is going to take a massive swing at somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. Obviously, Trevor Zegras' name is out there, but you don't know what's going on in the league. Like all this Elias Patterson stuff pops up.
Oh yeah,
until that hit the news, no one knew there was a big issue with Patterson in Vancouver. Like nobody knew that.
No man,
and then everybody knew that.
Apparently, he was almost traded to Carolina.
Almost a done deal. They even had people who could come back and they'd sit down and be like, "Listen, do you want to be here, or are we pulling the trigger on this deal?" So you don't know what's going on in the league. You don't know what stars are unhappy or what stars aren't. So Zegras is the one that's out there because it's out there. If that move happens, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be concerned about the return on a Zegras trade, because I don't view him. I like Zegras, but I don't view him as a home run. And he's got some question marks and he's got some injury issues. So, like, if you're taking a swing on that, he better work out. I'm talking like I want to take a swing at a home run, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Top line, not top six, top line offensive guy. And if he packages up, a young good defenseman who we don't want to lose, going back the other way, I think someone's going to be unhappy at the trade deadline or at the draft, because a player they really like is going to be out of town. A player I like is probably going to be out of town. Hopefully not the ones I like the most, but package with a pick that maybe we would have rather kept. But if the return is right, then no one's going to care. I don't think, or not care too much. So I think there's going to be a big swing at the draft. I'd be surprised if there's not. I don't know what it is, but I think we're all going to be excited about coming next season. And I think that it'll clarify who's going to play on that second line next year. Let's just put it that way.
I like it.
That's my prediction.
I like where you're going with it. Oh, it's good.
Yeah. The only thing I don't want to give up, we talked about, I really want to take that for our own first round pick this year. Especially if it stays around 5.
I'll be pissed.
I don't want to trade that, and that might be a deal breaker. I'd sooner go ahead and trade our pick from next year. I wouldn't have an issue with that. I'm happy to move on from next year.
Yeah.
But and we got Calgary's pick there anyways. But I don't want to see that one go.
No.
But maybe I'm asking too much because I think like there's a couple of guys in this draft who are going to be around 5 who could also help. Like Lindstrom, like Demidov, like Riley Catton, like Yzerman and stuff like that. So there's a lot of offense there I wouldn't want to leave on the table. But Montreal's got so much assets. I feel like they should be able to make a move, a big one, and still use that pick.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 last pieces. Not last piece overall, but until we start transitioning to maybe then you look at UFAs and stuff like that and start building the rest of your team in.
Yeah, man. I'm with you on that one too. Canadian Elite asked if it's time to trade our future picks for stud players. Pretty much, we just touched on that one as well.
I think like it's not the first overall pick, but other stuff I would be okay with that.
Yeah, the Canadians' first rounder for me this season is off the table. Like unless they go on some kind of crazy winning streak between now and the end of the season, which I can't see.
No, I can't see either.
I can't see that.
Yeah. And for me, it's like it's after this season that any new assets you're looking at how you can shuffle around and bring roster players in.
Yeah.
Once you see how this lot roster is kind of starts to fare to start next season with the additions that you made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Next question is from user CB6, and he wants to know, how does Mijar slot into the future team? Why would we make these late first-round picks, and maybe if we draft, develop, we can get a Jason Robertson?
They're all assets, right? Like a late-round pick is an asset. You can get Lane Hudson in the second round. But you don't know what you got until you fire the dart and wherever it lands on the board at the time. And then sometimes it takes a year or two to figure out where you got. And the other thing is that you look at teams like, I say like Pittsburgh when they were really good and really relevant, right? They got your top part of your lineup. You got that.
Yeah.
But these guys are trading assets every year, picks and assets to fill back up their roster for guys that they're losing. Because as you win, you can't afford to keep those guys anymore. Their value goes up and they leave town. You got to fill up your cupboard. And Pittsburgh's been doing it for a decade, which is why they're kind of suffering a bit. Yeah, the cupboard's relatively bare. So if you get, even when you become competitive in a few years, or hopefully we do, if you got a full cupboard of potential guys to either A, move into your lineup, into the middle part of your lineup when guys outperform and we have movement time because we can't afford them anymore, and you got a Mijar to come in and plug in. I mean, that's the Detroit model, right? That's the Tampa model. You lose a guy, and all of a sudden, a guy comes from the farm system and plugs the hole better than the guy who left. So, you build up this farm system. You put as many, feelers out there as you can, and hope that when the time comes, either you got the assets to fill up your roster properly, or you got their assets to move to bring guys in that you need. And at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. And I think as this season ends and you get into next season, and you got some of these pieces in place, there's going to be more holes that become obvious, and then you can use those assets to kind of fill up those holes. So, and I mean, I think they've been doing a better job of development lately as well. I mean, just look at how Arber changed this game around in Laval. Mario Armia went down there and came back a new man, So I think they've been doing a much better job of developing homegrown talent too, than they had in the past.
Yeah, for me, Philip Mijar, I see him next season as probably for sure playing in the AHL. Playing in Laval. A full season would be nice. I'd like to see him take kind of like the Wawa route. You know what I mean? Now he's spending another year in junior. He's putting up better numbers this season. If he can transition into the AHL and just put up solid numbers next season, then we'll go from there. You'll get a better gauge. Yeah. But I mean, he's a pretty good player though. He's showing off some goods this season.
Like I said, it'd be great if he come in and play in your top 6, but if he doesn't, there's 4 lines. If you got guys who generate offense, can play good, and got underlying skills, and you're going to have him under contract, then that means you don't have to go and get that guy. So I think he can be a good middle 6, probably closer to like a third line winger, and give you some good minutes. But it's not going to be this year. It's not going to be next year probably. But that's fine.
No, that's right. Yeah. All right, next question. I'm pretty sure this is the last one. It's from C-Dog. C-Dog's been a member on my channel now for over a year, so special shout out to... Actually, man, let me check. Almost 2 years. So special shout out to him. Here's one just for fun, he says. Montreal has 24 draft picks in the next 2 years. 10 are from other teams through trades. Like he said, it's just for fun. You trade those 10 picks plus Gallagher for A, Crosby for 4 seasons, B, Zegras for 8 seasons, or C, Pedersen for 8 seasons. It's a lot of draft picks to trade.
I'm doing Pedersen for 8 seasons.
Yeah?
Yeah. If I'm trading, which I wouldn't, but yeah, well, definitely. You?
Pedersen? Yeah, you got to go with Pedersen. Crosby's on, I love Crosby.
Me too.
Like, one of the best players that played in our generation. Anyway.
100%.
You know what I mean? Wicked. But he's on his way out. It'd be cool to see him in the Habs lineup. But I mean, and he grew up a Habs fan, didn't he?
He did, apparently.
Or at least that's what I'm telling myself.
If the hypothetical trade wasn't so high,
yeah,
I would love that. I think Crosby, depending on what happens with Pittsburgh, if he ever hits the market, he could end up in Montreal. Like, that's still out there. He could still. But if it's just those 3 guys, and right now where I am I'm giving up all those assets, those mystical assets, then I think the best value contract there would be Pedersen.
I'm with agree. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you on that.
But imagine like 5 years from now or 3 years from now, Crosby's like going to come to Montreal for like cup run in Montreal and just sits around far.
That would be sick. It would be pretty fun to watch.
It'd be awesome. I like to say that, I think one of our very first episodes I called out Pittsburgh on what in the hell are you doing? Resetting and kind of not tearing it down. And I think every year I get more and more right.
Yeah, man.
I think to just a good team who just doesn't have enough oomph and don't have any assets to get it.
Yeah, just I know what you mean. Yeah.
So much good talent there. It's just not enough.
Yeah. Did you see last night? There was a trade last night, eh?
There was a trade.
The Leafs getting into the mix.
Look out.
Trilleving's got his fingers dirty.
Was it Labushkin?
Yeah, Labushkin again.
Crazy. Bringing up
the return
of Labushkin. Bringing up David Savard's trade value, though, if he ever does want to move, because
oh man, I know. And now Tanev's gone.
We didn't talk about the return on Tanev. We're going to talk about that. That was underwhelming. I thought, I know there's a bunch of pieces there, and they said that maybe not Dallas, but Calgary valued that the player they got back, I don't know his name, more than say a late first round pick. So so if you look at it like that, they're viewing that trade as a first round pick plus. I know no one else in the league I think is viewing it like that, but I think that's how they were looking at it, that they valued him more than a late first rounder. So I was hoping the way Calgary set the bar with the Lindholm trade, they set the bar super high. Yeah, and then the Monahan trade followed suit. I don't feel like this is setting the bar super high. No, so. But at the same time, it's one more defense off the market, so the demand goes up for anybody that's left.
That's what I like about it.
And it's still lots of time for teams to kind of panic. And that's what you need. You need a nice panicky GM.
You do. Pierre LeBrun said over the last couple of days that Hughes has a set price for David Savard. He doesn't want to move David Savard, according to lots of fun Pierre LeBrun. Yeah. But if he does move him, he's getting back a ha.
I think so. It seems like he's got his price set, and I think LeBron said it's like a first plus.
That's crazy. I don't think he's getting it.
I don't think he's going to get it either.
No.
I think Savard is going to stick around. Yeah. All the guys that they could trade, to me, Savard would get you the best value, but is a hard fit. Although he's not a rental either, right? That's the other thing with Savard. You got him for 2 seasons. If Montreal retains, which I'm not keen to do, but if they did retain, then you got Savard for $2 million for 2 seasons. If you're a contender, that might be appealing to you, but I don't know. Jake Allen, I can't see. What are you trading Jake Allen for? We had this conversation
oh my God!
I think Basu and Godon were talking about that the other day, and they were saying essentially, if someone came and offered you a 7th round pick for Jake Allen, you'd take it. He was like, "Here you go, take Jake Allen, go." No offense to Jake Allen, but he gets off your books and way to go. But the retention spot with Jake Allen is what gives him any value whatsoever. So if he goes, he's going to be retained, and the retention is what you're going to get the asset for, not for Jake Allen. So you still got to temper your kind of expectations there.
As much as I hate to say it, I think you're right, because you were the one that said to me that you feel like they're going to be racking 3 goaltenders for the remainder of the season.
I think so.
Yeah, and I think you're right, man, and it pisses me off.
Well, I don't think they'll be racking 3 goaltenders anymore. I think once the trade deadline comes and goes, Allen will just sit.
Think so?
Why keep him? Why? What's the point?
I don't know. It's inhumane.
It is a bit, but Primo needed some starts.
True.
You know, you got to kind of turn it, and you're not going to sit Montembeault because he's, you know, your heir apparent. So I think it goes to a Primo Montembeault split, and poor Allen just percolates,
dwindles away.
Like, and I mean, but the only reason to play him is to increase his trade value.
Yeah.
And if he, you know, he hasn't done that when he's played.
Man, it's been bad, eh?
So maybe it's better to leave him. Maybe you can send him to the World Championships and he can go play good over there and build up some trade value. I don't think that'll happen.
How are they going to get rid of him during the offseason?
Find somebody.
You're just hoping that some kind of random disease comes along and starts wiping out goaltenders.
He's going to kneecapping goaltenders around the league. He said, like, 1 year of Jake Allen.
Yeah.
You know, 1 year of Jake Allen on a team with a young goaltender, and even if Montreal had to retain. So, like, there's more flexibility in the offseason. You know, maybe they take back a bad contract instead. Maybe they send another bad contract. There's ways around. I mean, you move Shea Weber's contract. Yeah. You can move Jake Allen, who can actually still play.
You're right.
But it's in mid-season with cap restrictions and cap constraints is a lot harder to do. I think in the offseason, with the pressure that's on there now, it's got to be done. So I think you'll find a way to do it, or buy him out, maybe. Like, not a great option either, but at least it frees him up to go elsewhere. I think he'll figure it out this offseason. It might not look great, but and it might have to lose an asset to get rid of him. Like, you might have to pay some, like Calgary. You know, you might have to pay someone to take him off the books. Yeah. Just to avoid this year all over again.
Yeah, you don't want this happening again.
Like, you could just say, all right, we're just going to let him sit, and he just won't play next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that doesn't seem like a Kent Hughes move. He seems like a player guy, so I think they'll figure something out. One more big story in the NHL, I think is a good one to end off on, man, but New York Rangers, Rempe.
Oh, I forgot about Rempe.
I know you did. I was like, how are we not talking about this? This is a great way to finish it out.
It is.
But, like, what an animal.
Oh, man.
First week in the league. Looks like Rocky Balboa went into the big fight.
I know it sparked a huge debate, too.
It did spark a huge
You know what I mean? Like, people are pissed off about it, but I don't know, man. I thought it was awesome. And he's such a good sport. Like, nobody's got a gun to his head telling him he's got to go and do what he's doing.
Oh, obviously, he wanted to
He's having the time of his life, man.
And they said, like, the first game, he did an intermission interview. I think it was his second game. And he was just after scoring a goal off his ass. Right? Yeah. And he's like, he said to Mrs., like, so genuine. Like, such just a genuine kid. Yeah. He's like, I was having time of my life out here.
Oh, I know.
He's like, did they give me credit for that goal? He's like, it's my first goal. He's like,
ugliest goal.
He's the ugliest first goal ever, right? And you know, and then he took on Olivier and he got the shit pounded out of him, right? But I mean, I don't. Xhekaj was the same thing last year. He came in the league and everyone wanted to take him on. And you know, I don't think the kid is. Look where Xhekaj is now. You know, he's not fighting every single game. He got himself established and people know where he's at. So I think you'll see Rempe settle down a little bit as the week that goes on, and he'll be a presence.
Two very similar stories, though.
It is really similar.
You know what I mean? Like, Arber, like, when he broke into the league last year, like you said, he was dropping the mitts with everyone. He just wanted to make everybody know that he wasn't backing down from anybody. And Rempe's the same way. Delorier asked him before the game started, you want to go? And apparently Rempe wanted to smoke from Olivier, too. He was the one that challenged Olivier, right?
So, I mean, like, you know, everyone breaks into the league different. Everyone makes their name and makes their presence known differently. I mean, he's a big kid.
He is,
you know, it's not monster. Like, you know, he's a big kid and he can handle himself. He took on probably a bit too much too fast, obviously, by looking at his face. But, I mean, the swelling went down. I see a picture of him the other day. He looks human again.
Looks like a beauty.
You know, I mean, you put an MMA guy in a ring and let him fight one fight, and that's what he looks like when it's done. You know what I mean? So the kid had his knocks. He could work on his defense. I don't mean hockey defense. Like, you know, maybe try to block or dodge one, right?
Yeah.
Not with your face.
Do you know, apparently, I read somewhere that John Scott actually reached out to him.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, because John Scott was massive, too. And he just gave him a few pointers, like, you know, how to use his size to his advantage, kind of.
Which is good.
Which is not going to hurt.
No. And
good on John Scott.
And the kids can skate. Like, you know, he wouldn't be there in the NHL right now if you can't at least play hockey. You don't
he's hitting everything that moves.
Yeah, so he's playing a role. So he's just trying to eke it out. I mean, it made for a good story, and everyone wanted to have a comment on it. Some people were like, God, this poor kid. Like, can't believe they're doing this to him. And I was like, I don't know, like, You know, there's no one doing anything to the kid.
You tell him what he wants to do. You give him an option now. He can play in the NHL for a few games and do what he's doing, or he can go home.
Yeah.
What do you think? What kind of decision is he going to make? It's a no-brainer, man. I'll jump in.
Yeah, but living to me up for $800,000.
Yeah, man.
Give it to me. But I don't know. Like, he's trying to make his way, and he's making it the way he knows how to make it. And I think he'll settle back down now. And like, he's not going to go next game they play the same teams and fight the same guys over again. He's been there, done that.
Yeah.
He's probably going to give Wayne Simmons a tune-up now. Is that
Reeves?
Reeves, yes. Reeves.
Yeah.
Is that tonight or tomorrow night?
I think that might be.
Leafs.
Yeah, it's either tonight or tomorrow night. But man,
See, like, we're excited to watch it.
I know. Is he actually going to do it though? Like with his face down black, kind of.
He looks much better. I see a picture of him yesterday. He just had a normal-looking black eye. I don't know if he'll do it or not.
Man, it's going to be crazy.
He probably will.
You know what though? If he does drop the mitts with Ryan Reeves and just like feeds him his lunch,
I know.
Oh my god!
Glorious.
I'll be so happy, man.
It would be glorious. And like, I don't want to see the kid get hurt, but he looks like he's having enough fun. To me, he's the guy. If he was playing down in junior, he'd still be chucking. You know, for free. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, he's enjoying it.
Yeah, right. He's fighting in the parking lot probably. So, you know, the fact that he might be able to earn a living from doing it. Plus, like I said, I haven't watched the game in detail. Well, no one has because he's only played like 7 seconds in between his penalty minutes. But you know, he's got a goal. I liked. I just like a good story, man. I like an underdog coming through and playing well, and he's that to me. You know, however he does it, he's that to me. So I like to see that. And
his game against New Jersey was the funniest stat line I ever seen because his time on ice was like, I can't remember. It was like 12 seconds. But in 12 seconds, he picked up 17 minutes of penalties. And I just laughed my ass off.
That gotta be a legend. Like, that gotta be some kind of record.
Yeah, man, it's wicked.
I did think, I'm very surprised he didn't get suspended for that. You're surprised? He was like, oh, but he's big. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, you hit him directly in his face. And he was like, he looked like he was in La La Land on the ice, but he did, man. He didn't know where he was.
Bastion was...
He was gone.
Down and out.
And then it was just like, I was like, all right. I like the kid. I like what he's doing, but I'm pretty sure that should have been a suspension.
It's nuts, man, how he's taking the league by storm.
Oh, it's unreal, right? So
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I enjoy it. Like I said, anything that's different, anything is a story, man, and he's a story.
Yeah.
A kid like that who can, and the Rangers in the playoffs, man. Him in the playoffs. Madison Square Garden.
Oh, man, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be deadly.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. So,
someone wrote a comment on a video I made on him. It was one of the top comments, and the guy said, Arber and Rempe would sell out WrestleMania.
It would, man. It'd be wicked. It's wicked. I hope Arber stays away from them.
You know what, though? Like, I was thinking the same thing, man. Like,
no need.
Just another hungry kid coming in. Yeah.
And now he's the guy, right? Whereas before he was the hungry kid. That's the way it goes sometimes. But I'm sure Arber would do all right with him. But no need if you don't have to. No need if you don't have to.
You gotta love it, though.
Oh, man. That'd be deadly. That'd be good, too. Yeah, I enjoy that. So, beer bet of the week. Are we doing? We did the... we did say that Lane Hudson would score a goal this season, but that's
a long one. So, you want Bear sooner than that?
Yeah. Hands shaking here is like, come on. I mean, I did have 13. It's only been 2 weeks.
I'm getting wrecked.
You are getting wrecked. I'm gonna let you pick again because you did a poor job last time.
That was a terrible job. God, I was gonna start with Colin White, but I'm not even gonna let myself do it. Here, take it off.
I'll bet you this is gonna be this is a very unlikely one too. You should win this one.
Okay.
All right.
So, give me a beer.
I'll just give you a beer right now. I'm gonna bet because despite the fact we've been ripping Josh Anderson, and for good reason, his point totals in his boots. He does look like he's working hard out there. He does look genuinely frustrated. He does look like he's working hard. It's just not going in. He did do well in the accuracy shooting, Montreal skill competition the other day. So I'm going to say that in the next week, next 3 games, we'll set it at 3 games because who knows when we might meet again. Josh Anderson is going to score a goal.
That's bold.
You're telling me. So I'm going to put a half case on it. Josh Anderson scored not a point. He's got to score a goal in the next 3 games.
Deal.
Done.
And if Colin White does anything, I get one extra top one.
Nothing going back the other way.
No, man, it's a one-way road to Colin White.
Done deal.
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys.
We hope we answered all your questions. Anyway, I think we got everyone.
I think we got them pretty just about all in.
If we didn't, we apologize. We'll get you some other time.
And just fire a question on the channel there. Hit like, hit subscribe, and
We'll
Junkie and GK.
We'll see you next time.